All right. Welcome, everybody. That was my phone, I think. All right, so welcome to TechEd, day 3. How is everybody feeling? Still energy? Seriously? Okay, I just took a lot of espresso to be ready for you guys here. So I'm speeding around now. All right, so it's all about modern apps and side-loading options. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Milad Aslanur. I'm a premier field engineer, part of Microsoft new global business support team. And basically, my whole role is about traveling to customers, Microsoft strategic enterprise accounts, making sure that their IT is healthy, delivering workshops, talk and talk, security analysis, and so on. Some of you might know, yes, I did work for Apple. I was a senior engineer in MobileMe and later iCloud department. I am now on the good side, I promise you guys, really. So now I'm doing MBA courses, I do work with Microsoft Learning, deliver workshops at our customers, all good now. And in fact, we are 3 siblings at Microsoft. So my brother works for Microsoft, my sister now works for Microsoft. Work doesn't stop for me, so every time dinner table, we're still talking about work. It's so bad that my sister is even the account manager in my account. So I can't really, sit there and say, oh, I sent an email later, because she will ask me at the dinner table, have you replied to the email? No. All right. I love what I'm doing. I really have the opportunity to travel around. I was at TechEd North America, TechEd Europe, now here. I will head over to a partner conference in Germany, and many other conferences to continue. Yeah. What I love about my job is just having the flexibility. I can talk today with one CIO, tomorrow with its IT pro, and this is really what makes me special. If I have some time left, I try to spend most of the time then with my nieces. They are also addicted to Microsoft. I just learned. Like, my sister sent me a picture where one of my nieces was setting at television and trying to do gestures and wondering why it's not working, because she's so used to it with her Surface. All right, enough about me. What are the objectives? First, we will examine the real field experience from Microsoft Global Business Support around modern apps. What are the typical questions our IT pros asking us? Then we look into how do you deploy modern apps? How do you side load them with MDT, SCCM, Intune? I will show all of them. All of them, I promise you will love it. And we will look into the architecture. So what is modern apps under the hood? What about security? Security is really important, right? How do we secure modern apps? I separated the session into 2 main brackets. So we look into modern apps, design principles. Why did Microsoft go with modern apps? Did we want to annoy you guys? No, really, we don't. Right? I will show you why we go with modern apps and why we believe that is the future. Look into security, architecture, what is the difference for RT versus Windows 8, and so on. Process lifecycle management, all about the performance. And then jump into the side-loading part. I will show you Intune as a cloud solution, SCCM 2012 SP1, MDT, PowerShell, group policy. You guys know anything else I can do side-loading with? I don't. All right. Let's talk about the apps. Why did we go for that? So we had some design goals when our engineering groups thought about how do we do now Windows 8, how we approach apps and all that. We wanted to make sure we have a consistent experience across our new form factors. So it doesn't matter if we're talking about 8-inch, 10-inch, whatever. We want to make sure that it's simple, that people will really see the app and say, oh, okay, yeah, I know how it works. We want to go away from this legacy apps where you have 1,000 buttons and you will primarily use 3 of them. And it's all about touch first in 8.0. We hear you. So in 8.1, we will do improvements for mouse and keyboard as well. How do I compare legacy apps versus modern apps? I would say this is a car. Everyone agrees it's a car? Yeah, cool. We could call it a car. You saw better ones? I saw your one. It has 4 wheels. It eventually drives you from A to B, occasionally. Has no board computer, no Spotify, no Xbox Music, sorry. What about this car? Board computer, AC, drives you for sure from A to B. And frankly, I would go from A to Z and then to B with that car. And that's how I compare modern apps and legacy apps. Having that legacy old car which eventually drive you from A to B without a board computer, without routines, without all the specifications, and then having that powerful car with all those new accessories and all this modern way of driving. Let's look into the architecture. Before, when we talk about legacy apps, where would the primary budget of a development project go? Will it go to the uninstallation routine? I don't think so. Modification routine? Maybe a little bit. But all about installation, right? We want to make sure that the app we develop is super in terms of installation and it stays there. We don't care if the user wants to uninstall it. We will introduce some hotfixes later on for that. So we will always have some DLLs left, some registry values left, some drivers left, which causes eventually to the user issues in terms of performance, reliability, and so on. We want to go away from that. That's why we are introducing modern apps. We have specified routines for installation, for modification, uninstallation. And for instance, if you would submit your apps to the Windows Store, those are the kind of things which we will look into to make sure that it has this great experience where the user won't have a problem modifying the app later, uninstalling the app, and so on. So we really reduce the areas where you would need to troubleshoot, basically. One day I was at the customer talking about Windows 8 and the improvements, and then he started asking, yeah, so how do you troubleshoot Windows 8, Windows Store apps? I was like, I am in support, but troubleshooting Windows Store apps? Yeah, you could use Windows Performance Toolkit to do some analysis on the performance, but other than that, hey, just uninstall, install, it's done. Like really 90% of the time, uninstall the app, it will work. And till today, I never saw an issue with a Windows modern app. And I am really specialized in Windows Performance. What else? We make sure, as I mentioned before, that it goes through all the form factors. You can develop modern apps into, let's say, 2 different flavors. You could even go with JavaScript and have those web-based technologies like HTML, SVG, and so on. Or you can do those full rich applications with C++, .NET, and C#. How does that app package look like? So at the very bottom, it's a zip central directory, right? So we go away from those registries, those drivers, not the drivers, the registries and the DLL parts. We have a zip directory, we have a signature base there, a block map, and then we have an app manifest specifying basically, okay, which hardware do we support? Do we support RT, yes or no, like ARM-based technology, ARM-based processors. Then we have like the name, the publisher details, all that in the manifest. And on top of it, we will have then the files and the assets itself. So really, the AppX package is the only thing you need to care about. Everything is inside there. And the easiest way, how you can identify, hey, did this app been written in C++ or in JavaScript, is basically the task manager. Just activate the, first you can activate the package name column. Every time you see a package name, it means that it's a Windows Modern app. And then you can see 2 arrows there. One is for camera and one is for maps. And once you see an executable name, which is not wwahost.exe, it means that that modern app is written in C++ or C#. If we look at JavaScript, we will see always a wwahost.exe. One of the myths around thousands of blogs is that wwahost.exe is a generic browser. This is not the case. Its purpose is to provide a runtime for Windows Store apps which are built with JavaScript. It is not a generic browser. So what about performance? Performance is very important, particularly for our end users. People complaining when the PC is slow, ringing IT, hey, my PC is again slow, fix it. Yeah, but we don't see anything here. It works in my lab. Happens all the time. Usually, and I think you all agree, having 10 to 15 legacy applications open over the time, PC gets slower and slower, right? Anyone had super fast experience, all like having uptime from 5 days of a client and then having still super performance? You had it? Five days, 3 days on?
Actually, more like 30. I was running Linux.
On a Windows-based device? All right. If you have a Windows-based device, you should. You are at the TechEd conference. Like, there's no Linux-related content, I think, or SCCM-related. Anyhow, you have 3 different states, basically, how we put those apps in, right? Either they're running, so you have them on the full screen, or you use the snap feature to have 2 apps in Windows 8.0 or in 8.1 with multiple apps at the same time running. Or they're suspended, so they're running in the background but don't really consume much of system resources anymore. And lastly, it's terminated, so it doesn't consume anything. So with process lifecycle management, we really make sure that this old legacy performance issue experience with multiple apps open over a certain of time doesn't appear. How do we secure it? We secure it by a feature we call app container. It's part of the NT kernel, it's an NT security feature. And basically it makes sure that it restricts apps from accessing other modern apps. It restricts access to System32, to HKLM, drivers, driver repository, and everything. We have some APIs available for our developers to utilize, for instance, the sharing capability of Windows 8. So you can share between apps if you use the specified API. And what's really under the hood is mandatory integrity control, MIC. So if you look at that screenshot over here, high integrity level means administrative privileges, right? So you do everything you want, don't worry. By default, a user would run a medium integrity level. This is why sometimes user account control will pop up and say, hey, I need an admin password to do it. And app containers run on the low integrity level and therefore have by default, unless specified through a specific API, no access to file system, no access to system root, System32 and all the folders, no access to driver repository, and so on. By the way, that's the same security feature, for instance, we use in Internet Explorer protected mode. All right. What about sideloading? 2 things. What about, first of all, Windows Store? How do we get Windows Store apps to a computer? So we have those public apps from the Windows Store, which we can directly deploy or sideload from the Windows Store. And you could even use SCCM, for instance, to do so-called deep linking. And I will show you that later, to have everything under one catalog. For your custom line of business apps, you can deploy them over your system management tools or through the cloud with Windows Intune. You have 2 different choices in terms of Windows 8 Edition, which you would need to use for sideloading. Either you have Windows 8 Enterprise, and it is domain joined, or you use a sideloading product key. If you go with Windows Pro or RT, you would need a separate sideloading product key. 2 different ways of sideloading, either installing the app over, for instance, SCCM, or you can provision apps in your master image, which I will also show you. So the apps are ready, and as soon as the user would log in, those apps will get installed to those computers. What are the requirements for sideloading? Very important, first of all, you need a certificate. The certificate which you use to sign those apps. You need to deploy it to the machines. Second, there's one important, very most important group policy called allow all trusted apps to install. You need to enable it. Either you go with GPO, or you could even go over the registry for it. So if the registry value is 0, you need to switch to 1. You don't have one of them, you won't be able to launch the app. You will still be able to sideload, but the app will not launch till you have both components activated. There are some deployment options. MDT for provisioning. You can go with PowerShell and go crazy, make some crazy stuff with PowerShell. I will show you. Windows Intune as Microsoft Cloud Solution, SCCM, or there's also a third-party open source solution called Company Store, which is available on Codeplex, which actually a friend of mine developed, which you can also use if you don't have SCCM, if you don't have Intune, and then I will show you how that would work as well. So you could build your own open source enterprise store. All right, enough about PowerPoint, I would say. Let's do demos. And let's pray to the Microsoft demo god that he's nice to me today. All right, let's begin with MDT. Let me move that over here. Actually, let me duplicate the screen, that would be easier. Okay, whatever. So that's my 2012 preview machine, R2 preview. Let's go. Let's log on. Yeah, I crashed it a few times. Open the workbench. All right, so what I want to do is really to provision a modern app now. And all we have to do is, let me zoom in. So I would go into applications. I have created a subfolder. And what I did basically, I created some applications there. And just to show you, let me create one. Right click, new application. Say application file source file with source files. Click on next. Specify the application name. Makes sense. People should find it, right? Let's call it TechEd. TechEd rocks. Next. Now he wants the source files. Let's see if I got some nice demo ones. Yeah. Let's use that one. Next. Next. And now command line. That's the easiest thing. You might think it's now a huge syntax. It's not the case, it's just the application name. And MDT knows that it's a modern app and will do the appropriate command line for it then. So let's check what's the name of the AppX package is. There you go. Copy paste. Hit on next, next, done. So now I got the TechEd Rocks app here. Next, I would need to go and put it to my task sequence. So opening my task sequence here. Let's see, where should I put it? Got it here, prepared. So here I got on the state restore, got a folder created for TechEd. I'm going to pause it to make sure that you could actually see it because it's like done. And then install the app. And just to show you here, there's no magic behind it. It says install a single application. And in this case, it's a demo app called Contoso Relationship Manager. And what I also got here is a script to unprovision Microsoft apps, because you might say like, okay, like I don't need those built-in apps which come like I don't want maps, I don't want Bing News or whatsoever. So you can actually use MDT in your master image for doing the creation of your master image to unprovision those apps, and I will show you also how that looks like in terms of the script. All right, so let's see how the installation looks like. Let me grab my client. So that's my client. And don't worry, snapshots. We don't wait for the whole image creation process. Okay. And that's the reason why I use a pause, to actually be able to show you guys how it looks like. So here, I'm in my installation progress, right? I have a pause sequence right now. Let me hit enter. Next thing takes a little second. Okay, so it's installing Contoso Relationship Manager. And let me go to the modern UI, because you will see now also at the same time the on-provisioning, which will happen now. Yeah, so you see it's a PowerShell script that's opening, and now you will see that the apps are beginning to disappear. Woohoo! Apps are disappearing. Once this is done, you will notice one more thing. There are some apps you can't on-provision. Reason for that is simple. Windows Store, we don't want you that you remove the Windows Store. Not because we want that you buy apps. We want. No, kidding. Because of the update. Like any Windows Store updates, it needs updates, and the only way to get those updates is over the Windows Store. So we want to have the Windows Store there. You can use group policy to deactivate the Windows Store. That's possible, but you are not able to unprovision that app. Internet Explorer, you don't want to, You want, I know you're a Linux guy. I like you, I got some present for you. Speaker, there you go. All right. And the desktop, you still want to use the legacy desktop, right? All right, so that's about that. Let me show you the on-provisioning script for a second. Let's see where I put it. On-provisioned. Oh yeah, it's under applications. Or I think I got it here as well. No.
Actually, I just have a quick question about
Sure.
the Internet Explorer unprovisioning. In Europe, do you have to unprovision set or allow unprovisioning of Internet Explorer?
So I am based out of Europe. I am based out of Germany. Oh yeah. So the question was if we need to unprovision Internet Explorer in Europe because of regulation stuff, probably. So as far I am aware of, no. But actually, maybe someone would know who's in the room. Michael? Do you know if we need to, is there some regulations around Internet Explorer on provisioning?
There are just regulations that require us to give you a choice,
Okay.
but not to actually remove it.
Okay, so actually that's Michael Niehaus. He's one of the members of the business group in Windows, and well, he's the writer of NBT, right? Okay. So let's see if I find the script. MDT1, create, applications, on provision, yes, edit, yeah. Oh. All right, so that's how the script looks like. We have, at first, we want to specify what $apps is. And basically what it does is checks our PowerShell, do a get appx package. So it lists all the appx packages which are installed on all users. But of course, we want to specify it a little bit more. So we check by publisher ID. And that's the Microsoft Publisher ID, right? So we check and say, OK, find me all appx package on this image from Microsoft. And then we say, for $apps, for each of them, what you have there in the list, do remove appx package, and then the package name. So that is uninstalling the app. Now we still need to unprovision the app, which is the third command line. For each, do a remove appx provisioned package, which is online with the package name, so and so. 3 lines of code to do really the uninstallation and unprovisioning of modern apps in your master image creation process.
So what's the difference between uninstalling and unprovisioning?
So the question is, what is the difference between unprovisioning and uninstalling? So in modern apps, you first need to install and then provision to make it available to the folks, like to your users. So we need to first uninstall, and then since it's still flagged as it is available, the users could say, hey, why it's not working? So we need to unprovision it as well for the users. All right. And like the script examples, that will be all on the speaker notes. If you go to channel9msdn.com, you grab the slide deck, it will be there. All right. Up. Oh yeah, one more thing. I'm going to show you the MDT one, actually. Let me use a snapshot. So remember, I first provisioned also app, the Contoso Relationship Manager. And now I am logged in as Linder. I did a domain join in the meantime. And this is how the start screen for Linda looks like. Now, I got the LOB app, Sideloaded, and I removed all other Microsoft modern apps. Just the store, Internet Explorer, and the desktop will remain. In 8.1, what has changed is that in addition to store, Internet Explorer, desktop, you would also still have the camera app. Because in 8.1, you are able actually, even through your screen is locked, to activate the camera to take pictures. Remember talking about the form factors, and maybe you saw at the device bars of 8-inch Acer one, and we will bring more and more to market from with our OEM partners. So we are getting ready for that as well. Okay. Cool. So let me show you something about PowerShell. Starting my domain controller. And a client will be great for that. Okay, so basically, let me first show you maybe what commands are available with PowerShell for for APPX files. PowerShell get command. I'm going to zoom in a second. Oh, come on, where's the star? 1 second. Okay. Let's do that one. Get command star APPX. And those are the available commandlets you have in PowerShell related to APPX. So you can do the add provision APPX package to provision modern apps over PowerShell. Make a list of what is provisioned already, remove it, check for errors, activate some logging, and here you see, for instance, the remove commandlets. So remove APPX package, remove APPX provision package. That's what we did in the PowerShell script. And how you would really likely to deploy it, unless you go with sysinterns, psexec, and crazy with PowerShell. We have group policies. So let me open group policy management. And let me show you the script I have prepared. Where do I have it stored? Okay. So DC1, Contoso Electronics. Edit. Yes, I trust it. Again, 3 lines of code. Oh. So first I say, okay, what is $install? It's get APPX, and then the name of the package, and then do the installation. Add APPX package, grab it from the domain controller under the file, under the share folder, and grab me the APPX. That's all. 3 lines of code. If you want to deploy it, simple. Let's go to the GPO, user configurations, preferences, oh sorry, policies, damn it, preferences. Control panel, schedule task. And all you're going to do is creating a scheduled task, basically, running that PowerShell script. So, PowerShell to deploy modern apps with the current user. The trigger would be add logon. So begin the task add logon for any user. Depending how many apps or how the performance of your machines are, you might want to delay the task, right? Maybe you don't want to have it straight away started. Hit on OK. Actions. Start a program. Well, guess what? PowerShell.exe. And the argument would be, let me copy that over here. Basically, we bypass the execution policy to make sure that we can run remote PowerShell scripts, and then say, okay, so where's the PowerShell script? Which is install dep.ps1. Hit on OK. Apply. OK. Well, so we got that group policy in place now. Let me log on to my client. Let's see if it grabbed it already. Just in case, let's do a gp update-force. So it grabbed the computer, user, perfect. And you know what? Hang on. So you might want to have dependencies also. So you have some dependencies to other apps. Let's just add the other app in that scheduled task as well. PowerShell.exe. Add argument, apply. Okay. Cool. Done with that one. Let's close that. Another GP update, just to be sure. Yes?
Can you do that as a computer-based policy rather than a user-based?
No. So modern apps are user-centric approach. So they're installed per user. Oh, sorry, they're provisioned per user. They are ready for all users, right? But really usage is all about the user. So no.
Actually, 2 questions. Is there any chance the users won't have the rights for the execute policy bypass? So the hardening of some standard operating environments don't allow users to or the PowerShell policy is set to restricted or signed or whatever, they can't bypass it. That's not a problem you've got.
So the question is, what happens if the machine is so locked down that bypass doesn't work? So I
For your experience, is it's not a behavior that's been a problem for you?
All right. Yeah. So based on my experience or the experience from global business support of Microsoft, we don't see much PowerShell deployments. We would see primary SCCM 2012 SP1, or even we see a trend going to Intune right now.
And so the other question, is there an upper limit on the number of apps that can be sideloaded? I thought there was 24.
Great questions. So question is there any limits around sideloading? There is one limit for provisioning modern apps. You can provision up to 25 apps. Not more.
That's all up, not for all users, but
for all users. You can, in your master image, when you create your master image, you can provision up to 25 modern apps. Of course, you can go ahead and do with SCCM or your application catalog then deployments, side loadings. Okay. So let me just restart that machine quickly. Shouldn't take that long. It's, if you notice, it's 8.1 on my host machine, and with 8.1, some really cool thing. Hyper-V, you can do generation 2 virtualization, which means UEFI. That's why it's so super fast. No BIOS anymore there. Like you can still go with generation 1, I don't see a point doing it. Okay, so let's log in with Linda. Let's see if apps appear. Not yet. Let's check out the desktop if PowerShell appears. Yeah. So just to show you, there's a deployment progress right now for VC Labs. So right now it's executing the add APPX package. Those VC Labs. Let's wait for its dependency for the Contoso Electronics one. Let's see where it goes through. By installation date. No, not yet. Let's check the scheduled task. If it actually got the second update. Oh, come on. All right. Okay, so he has it here. Let's log on, log out once more and log in and see. Okay. It's deploying again VC Labs. Come on, jump to Contoso. No. Let's launch it manually. Run. Any questions in the meantime?
If the user closes the PowerShell,
Where was? Ah, yeah.
sorry, if the user closed the PowerShell session in the middle of the installation, would it fail?
Fail. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, the question was, would the installation fail when the user interacts with the PowerShell console? Yes, it will fail. Go ahead.
So is the PowerShell script going to run every time they log in and try and reinstall?
Once it's installed, it won't. Yeah. So question was, will the PowerShell script will run over and over and again if it's already installed? No. Let's see. There you go. Contoso Electronics is there. Let's do some shopping. So that's about side loading with PowerShell and group policy. As I said, we don't see much interaction in the field with our enterprise customers around that, because typically they would have SCCM or Intune. It's a demo app. It's not supposed to do some crazy shopping.
I was happy to get a Nokia 1020. So
You got a free phone today from us. It's enough.
software engineering though.
Yeah, social engineering. Okay, so that's about NDT. That's our PowerShell. And now, what about I'm mostly into is Intune. So I'm talking a lot about Windows Intune recently, and with that, let me jump into Windows Intune and show you how that works. WindowsIntune.com. Go into my account, to the admin portal. Keep me signed in.
Is it standalone or is it via SCCM?
That one is standalone, yes. So question was if it's standalone or is it standalone or connected with SCCM. So you can really already connect SCCM 2012 SP1 with Windows Intune. So that you can manage, for instance, your Windows RT devices, your iOS devices over SCCM, Android as well, correct. So that's how Windows Intune looks like, the console. Is anyone using Windows Intune in the company? Really? Oh, a few. Great. I love you guys. Come later, I have some gifts for you, special gifts. All right, so this is Windows Intune console. And basically, it's super simple. First, you click on software. Makes sense, right? And then it tells you already, there are two tasks you need to make. You first add the software, and then you manage the deployment. So let's click on Add Software. Open the pop-up. Ask me for my credentials again. Keep me signed in, please. All right. Yes. And what I want to do is here I choose the package. What do I want to install? Do I want to install Windows installer routine, Android app, iOS app, and so on? But what I'm interested in is the Windows app package, APPX. So I hit on APPX, and then I say, okay, where is the app? And let me go on my D, and I got like a whole bunch of modern apps. Let me choose that one. Here, no magic. It's an APPX file. Hit on next. Ask me for the publisher details so it can show it in a nice modern UI store. Let's say the publisher is Microsoft. You could even add the icon then. Let me go to pictures. Choose that one. Next, upload. And now it uploads the APPX package together with the information I have specified to the Windows Intune. And now it all depends on how fast our internet is today.
Does it support also
Windows
Windows RT?
RT, yes. It would support Windows RT. The question is about, okay, so does it work with Windows Intune and Windows RT? Yes, we do support Windows RT. And I will show you now how it looks like on the client. And it's the same experience, doesn't matter if it's Windows 8 or Windows RT. So upload is completed. Close. And now step 2, manage the deployment, right? First it will ask me, okay, which software? I just have one app there, so that's simple. I'm going to choose that app I just put on Windows Intune, so BDM Hub. Click on Manage Deployment. Say, I want to have it for all users. Click on Add, Next. Then you're going to choose, okay, do not install or available to install. Hitting on available to install, finish. And now let's jump to the client. I love UEFI. So let me log in. And here you see already I have an app downloaded, prepared. It's called Company Portal. You can get it from the Windows Store, which is a modern UI company portal, the enterprise store for Windows Intune. Same one for Windows RT. So that's how, for instance, how we will promote bring your own device scenarios. Right? So how do we deploy bring your own device modern apps, LOB apps to bring your own devices? Windows Intune would work. You have the company portal app. That's the user downloaded. And then he could log in with the credentials he's getting from IT to his Windows Intune account. So let me click on Sign In.
Might be a typical Linux user, just for a change.
Sorry?
So
Yes, so there is an app for iOS and there is an app for Android as well, for Windows Intune. Correct. Connecting to the service. Come on. So that was what I was worried about, demoing here, because I noticed the last 2 days that the internet was not that great. Oh, that's 1, 2, 3, no. But that's why I went yesterday back to the hotel and did a video, just in case it doesn't work because of the bandwidth. There you go. So let me go to the company portal, do the authentication. Gonna take a few seconds, and this one I know it will work. Come on. Yeah, click on sign in without me touching anything. Right. Minority report, you know. Yes, so hang on, touching here, typing the password, sign in. Yeah.
Why Xbox One, huh?
So it's authenticating now. And there we got the Global Business Support company portal. What is here missing is just that's a managed deployment part. Let me go over here. Yeah. Click on New Apps. And there we have the BDM Hub app. And all the thing the user just has to do is now click on Install, and he will get the app side-loaded over Windows Intune. It's that easy if internet is working. Questions to Intune? Side-loading? All good?
It's solid, it's loaded and provisioned.
Yes.
So just for that user.
Yes, for that user. Things are, yeah.
You mentioned before about a 25 app limit. In that store, if you had a couple of hundred apps, are they still stuck to the 25 app limit, or they can exceed that if they go install?
Okay, so the question is, what about the 25 app limit and Windows Intune or SCCM if I have like 100 apps? Don't worry. The 25 app limit is about provisioning an app in your master image. It's not about side loading with Windows Intune or SCCM. You go forever, like if you have enough space. Does that answer the question? Yeah. Anything else? I think here or something? No? Good? Perfect. Okay. Yeah. Check your network connection. Huh. I'm not surprised. And this is actually the reason why I will show you now on-premise SCCM. Because, so I'm responsible for EMEA, Europe, Middle East, Africa, and particularly Middle East and Africa. We are good in preparing the folks for cloud, but we have, of course, like, so we are supporting countries like Nigeria, Angola. They have no, they don't have the internet structure for going for cloud. So on-premise will remain for a while. And let me show you how that looks like with SCCM. Yes. Close. Okay, so let me open Config Manager. Who in the room use SCCM? Quite a few. Great. Who has already 2012 deployed? Production? Great. R2 preview testing? Awesome. Yeah, Michael, I'm not surprised. Okay. Cool, so what you're gonna do is basically go into software library. Nothing has changed, right? You go still to software library, you click on application management, go on applications, create the application, and it's really more or less similar to Windows Intune, right? Remember, step 1, add application. Step 2, deploy application. And guess what we are doing now in SCCM? First, we're going to make it available in SCCM, and then we're going to deploy it over SCCM. All right. So we got quite a few more installation packages we could deploy over SCCM, right? What all I care about here is Windows App Package. And this is what I meant with deep linking. You see here Windows App Package Windows Store in brackets. This means you could go into the Windows Store, check for the ID, which has been used to publish that app, right? And then you can say, okay, you know what, SCCM? This is the ID of that app. Go ahead and use that ID and make it available over the application catalog. And as soon as the user hits install, it will go to the Windows Store and do everything for him. Since I focus now on line of business applications, I go ahead and click on Windows App Package. And let me browse for one of them. Let's see. Let's deploy company store. Oh, yeah, UNC path. CM1, apps, company store. Choosing the AppX package. Next. Next, next. Done? What was the second step I have to do? Deploying it, exactly. So let's see where I have it here. Oh, I did it already, but let me deploy the copy. Just to confuse my end users, you know, I love doing it. Oh, I see it 2 times. Yeah, choose one and see how it goes. Deploy. Then I specify which user group I want to deploy it. Right? Remember, Windows Modern Apps, it's all about the user, not the system, not the machine. Let's say all users again. Next. Select the distribution point. Here, my cmcorp contoso.com. Who in the room doesn't know by now Contoso? I think it's one of the companies. Apple. Well, like Apple. I think it's one of the companies which never go bankrupt. Rumors. I mean, till we are there. Okay. Okay, hit on OK. Next. Now I can choose here. Do I want to make it available over the application catalog, or should it be required and pushed directly to that user? So that goes into your questions direction, right? So let's make it available. Click on Next. Would ask me, okay, do you want to schedule that thing? If I have SCOM, I could specify some alerts around that. Next, next, next. Close. And now it's all ready. Let me start my client. Start and move it over here. Yeah. Zoom. Typing in the password. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is let me check the Software Center. Software Center. Yeah, it's okay. Nothing. Why is that so? I made some stuff available. I know I have some other stuff available, some other modern apps available, but I don't see anything in the Software Center. Reason for that is it is available. It's not getting installed right now. So the user would need to go actually to the application catalog. So let me open the application catalog over here. loading. All right, and here I am then my application catalog, right? I got all my apps which I have made available there. Could choose one, hit on install. Yes, I'm really sure I want that app. Yeah. Oh, let's see, security information. Yeah. And then Software Center would kick in and do the installation, like in this example. Let's get back to a snapshot. Here you can see it is downloading and installing the software. And then it makes it available. Let's see over here. Actually, okay. Installation complete. There you go. And if I go now here, I see the app has been side-loaded now through SCCM. So if you have it required, it will push down it immediately. If you do it over available, it will be available for the end user over the application catalog. And then he needs to click on install, and then it will go through Software Center and do the installation.
You say a lot of these installations are user-based. Is that because you want to be able to have those applications follow the user profile as they switch to different machines?
So the question is that since the apps are user-specific, if we want to make sure that we can synchronize that?
Essentially, the question is if you install via SCCM or via Intune, does that application follow the user when they move computers?
Okay, so question is, if the apps follow the users once deployed over SCCM or Intune? No. Not for line of business apps. You can do, if the developer has used specific APIs, he can utilize, for instance, with Microsoft accounts, the function to synchronize settings, but not the app itself. Yes, go ahead.
How would you deploy to a computer lab where you have, say, students at a university coming in using the application, but you want it only to be installed on machines in the computer lab?
Not sure if I got that one.
So you've got 30 machines.
Yeah.
And you've got any student from the university to come in to use the app, but you only want the app installed on those 20 machines. How would you address that scenario?
Okay, so the question is, imagine you have a student environment, 30 machines, and you want to make sure that that specific app for your students is there, right? Okay, so what you're going to do there is basically part of your image creation process, provision that app, and once the user logs in, it will be available for him to use.
So there's no distribution solution dynamic. I mean, the app gets, you get a new app that you want in the computer labs.
Okay, for the distribution of modern apps, later on, once image creation is done, image deployment is done, you can do SCCM, you can do Intune, and not make it available, but make it required for that machine. So once the machine is online, the user is logged in, SCCM Software Center will detect, hey, I got something for the machine, for the user, and then do the deployment, the site loading of it. Just actually what we saw here now. So I made it, I can choose required, right, on the SCCM. Software Center detects there is something new, and it is required, and therefore do the site loading.
Still going to require a user login though to get that first run though, because the volume is bound to the user though, isn't it?
Correct. Everything around Windows Modern Apps is user-centric.
So you're still going to have to really have a generic user that you go and if you don't want to have a headache from 30 people loading that app at one go, you're going to have to really go to those machines, log in as a generic user to get that app deployed down to that machine first.
Okay. Yeah.
No, but then it will be pre-loaded on the machine and just made available for each user. So you're trying to save the bandwidth of having to load the app.
So your concerns are on the bandwidth. Let me tell you this, modern apps. The biggest one I saw so far is 80 meg. Typically, so let me show you. I got a bunch of here. Oh, no. let's see, that's 20 meg, Dynamics, 1 meg, 29, 11. It's not like the old legacy applications. Yeah. Yes?
Going back to the previous gentleman's question. So if that user logs into another lab, but you don't want the software on those computers, how do you stop it getting on those computers?
So the
Same user, you've got one lab with this particular piece of software on it. If they go to a different lab, you don't want the software on that lab, on that computer.
okay,
How do
so
you stop that?
so question is, user has multiple computers, and IT just want to have that app on one computer. It's a good question.
I got the answer for that one.
Perfect. Go ahead.
Group policy organizational units. So if in Active Directory that computer is in a particular organizational unit, then you could apply the group policy for that SCCM to only be deployed on computers in that lab.
But that's our computer-centric. That doesn't work with users. So that's,
You could still use the group policy in Active Directory.
yeah, maybe, Michael, do you know?
You could have an application, what's the lockout policy to be generic and have an override on the OU to allow the hash of the application you've got to just go to the OU with those computers.
Okay, now we get tricky. Yes, so we can use app locker to make sure that we don't get that app then on specific computers. But basically the whole idea of modern apps and how we as Microsoft want Windows 8 to be out is basically having that consistent experience across the devices. Doesn't matter if it's that old laptop or a Surface or one of our products from our OEM partners. Yes, sir.
What about when you've got a call centre of 100 PCs and your user can log on to any machine? They're going to have to install that app on every single machine that they...
So what we see in call centers is typically they would go for Windows to go, actually, right? And the customers we talk with, or call centers, they're really interested to Windows to go because they have like those small amount of computers, but a huge amount of employees, right? So instead of having one computer for one employee, they give USB sticks now away, right? I have like 1-2 accounts right now. I'm dealing with that. And it's all provisioned and ready on those Windows to go devices for their account. So they don't have other computer. They have that Windows to go device. Yes?
I think your concern is that the whole install, once it's installed once, it's the bulk of it is installed in a hidden directory, and there's a provisioning to the user's profile that allows them to use the app. So if 5 people log onto the machine, the application is only down once, but they have provisions within their profile.
Shared PC scenario.
Sorry?
Shared PC scenario.
Yeah.
Well, it's more that sort of like a user's got to interact on every single machine they go to.
Yeah, there is that.
Sort of like, I don't want to do that. I want to basically have the app there.
And all
When they
users,
log on,
yeah.
it's there on their screen. Not to have to say sort of like, hey, you've got to do this on every single machine you touch.
That's why I raised the question about computer apps.
Yeah. So basically it happens automatically, right? So once the user logs in, the app will be there within seconds. Since, like, even if you provision it, it's already in the system root, right? It's in C, program files, Windows apps. Windows apps, the folder itself is only accessible for the trusted installer routine, so for security reasons. And then we will make sure it's getting available for that user once he logs in first time. Okay. So that's about SCCM. Got one more thing, as my ex-boss used to say. And that's about the company store. Let me log into that one. Let's see, was that the password? Correct. Go on desktop. Do I have it? Let's see. Let me just extract it. Okay. So basically the whole idea is for getting a company store for you, and you define how does it look like, and also define what apps should go in without having SCCM, without having Windows Intune, and everything else. Let me show you how that looks like. So we have basically, come on. It's a modern app, okay? So modern app is a company portal, so to speak, right? And all the magic is in the assets folder. Remember, I was saying APPX package has an assets area where you have sort of files. And here we have the store structure. And what we see here is pretty straightforward, basically, if we look really carefully in there. So we have the name of the app. We have a store description. If you want to make Windows Store apps available, you can go ahead and use deep linking again. So you specify here the MS Store ID of that app, and hyperlink, tell me where the logo is, and that's how the store will look like then for the user. You can go ahead and deploy that, make that XML file available over GPO, so you can update it there, and GPO makes sure that the user gets the latest version. And if you remember, when I was talking about security, we were saying, okay, modern apps cannot launch other modern apps and install and all that. So what he did, that why, is he wrote also a legacy app. So the modern app detects it. Oh, user wants to install, starts a legacy app, does the installation, and goes back to the modern UI. Cheating, but it works. And once you basically specified like how your store looks like, right? How you want that it looks like, you need to certificate. So in this example, he has a PowerShell script ready to generate a self-signed script. Let me type in a password. Okay, created a script. Now I want to build the modern app. Run an app. Yes, yes. Done. And here I got now the company store.appx and the install script. And it would look like, show it here. Okay. And once it is then deployed, it looks like that. So I didn't change a whole lot. But you can see that here I have the apps from the Windows Store, right? He's grabbing the logo and everything from the Windows Store straight away. I would have here my internal apps, and he decided to have also some RSS feeds and everything shown up for the user. So, yeah, go ahead.
Where do you get the IDs from?
So the idea, the question is, where do you get the Windows Store IDs from, right? To do that deep linking, you get them from the Windows Store. So when you download the app, you can see the app ID. Yeah. All right. Around the company store, so the Codeplex solution, so you get it from Codeplex, as I said. We see some customers using it. Antoine Journat from France, as I said, he developed it. He's a PFE, same technology like I do, and basically we work a lot together. Unfortunately, he couldn't join here. And of course, it's not the Microsoft recommended way, as you might imagine. Our Microsoft recommended way would be our SCCM 2012 SP1. Okay. Done. PowerShell, we did Intune, we did SCCM. And now SCCM. That one. Some stories from the field. We know cloud is possible. We see more and more customers, more and more enterprise accounts getting interested. I saw there are some people here utilizing Windows Intune. By the way, are you using it together with SCCM or standalone?
It's standalone at the moment, but it will be connected to SCCM.
Standalone, it will be? Integrate already. Standalone, perfect. And you, sir? No? Okay. On-premise will remain a little more while. Yeah. Of course, as you are aware, we go all in with the cloud as Microsoft, but we are aware of customers like in emerging countries we don't have the bandwidth right now. So we will have SCCM support and make sure that this is available. Yeah?
You'll be surprised, Australia doesn't have the best bandwidth as well.
Hey, I noticed that. I noticed that here. Yeah. On provisioning apps, you can do it, right? You just have the 3 code lines to do it. And one of the features I keep hearing over and over and again what customers would love to have was, hey, we are IT, we want to make sure that we can modify the start screen for marketing, we want to have a for sales. And yes, in Windows 8.1, that's a new feature. You can specify as IT the start screen and then make sure you can make it available over group policies to your departments. So there's a new group policy in Windows Server 2012 R2 preview already in there in combination with Windows 8.1. You will be able to modify the start screen as IT administrators, as IT pros. So any questions? No? So what do you need to do side loading? First, what do you need?
Can I tell?
What?
Can I tell?
No, you don't tell. Yes? Oh, yeah. So 3 things, actually. You need a modern app. That's good. Certificate and? GPO. Perfect. What are the solutions available to do side loading? PowerShell. What? Yeah. SCCM. Intune. And? Company store. Perfect. You're all set. Anyone developed or has a modern app ready in your enterprise? I love you, man. You get something. You too. You come, I give you something.
Chris has some as well.
Yes, Chris, by the way.
I have the Windows XP end of support countdown app.
Yes. So everyone, we need to get XP.
Rejected.
Really?
Yes. They didn't see the use of it.
Anyone on XP still?
Not for long at least.
Some? But you're working on it? Easy?
He's working unique.
Okay. All right. Guys, make sure you are ready once end of life happens. There was a nice blog post from Tim recently talking about XP end of life and what happens after end of life. Okay, with that, thanks everybody for attending the session.